Okay. Hello everyone. So first of all, thank you for Arnel and the team for organizing PyCon Davao and inviting me to speak here. And also sorry I would not be able to come there um, physically due to some of problems that occur early this morning. No? But I recorded this talk for you to also learn what's actually the life under the underscore. No? A guide to Python's internal convention, what how actually Python works, things around it no internally. So again, who I am muna, I'm Neil, currently a tech lead for a startup company here in BDC, a Pythonista since college, career coach, and a community connector. I'm a part of several tech communities, even non-tech communities, but currently I'm most active at AWS User Group Philippines as one of the meetup leads. And next month we will also have a nationwide event. So keep your eyes on looking on our page. Okay, so before we start, I would love to just give you the access for these slides so that even though I go fast, you'll be still able to get back uh, to the previous slides. No, so I'll give you at least five more seconds before I proceed, or you can just go to bit.ly 2025-pycon Davao. Okay, so let us start with basics. So imagine we are kinda like beginner. We are assigning different variables with like 1 and x equals to 1, y equals to 2, and we want to have an arithmetic addition. X 1 plus 2 equals 3, right? No. In this case, it would be 12. It is not a magic, guys. So for me to show you it's not a magic, I will be using the 12 and I'll be adding another number so that we will be able to verify that's actually doing a legit arithmetic. So here I'm still using underscore plus 3 to get the previous value and to add it to 3. So for this, it shows the correct answer, 15. So what actually happened there? So for the first part, we actually created a subclass of Python built-in integer type. So here we actually created a subclass here in int and integer. These methods, we actually also add a method, technically a magic method, which we also call in Python dunder method, which is characterized by double underscore and the method name itself, and another double underscore. For this, we are technically overriding an internal method of integer, which is technically arithmetic addition, and we are making, instead of doing arithmetic addition, we are technically making the number a string first, and then another number a string again, so that we will, instead of doing arithmetic, we will be doing concatenation. So this is just one of the many applications of underscore in Python. So let us start with the first part. Quick ways to use uh, underscore underline in your daily development. So first, we could actually, as I showed earlier on, we could actually access previous value, no. So for this one, as you can see, I also add like multiple 1 million, I think, or 10 million plus 1 then it actually showed here the result. And when you use a single underline and plus any other stuff, it will actually get the previous value. This is actually similar with the shebang dollar sign in terminal, wherein you could also get the previous argument um, from the previous command, right? So that's one. The next part is technically there a lot of developer uses underline to actually as a throwaway variable. So usually if we don't usually care that much on the value that we will be storing, we just use underscore for everything for that, no. So it, sabi nga nila, it is, I know there's a value but I don't care, no. But take note, we are still assigning the value to underscore hindi siya yung naglalaho, no, like yung value disappears immediately, no. We're just assigning it underscore, but it's just stylistic, no, in the Python community. So other part of it, if you can actually see, on the bottom part, we are also able to use it in unpacking, parang unpacking list, no. So for that one, we have like parang multiple variable a, comma, asterisk, underscore, comma, c, equals to the list. So for that one, we are assigning the last and the first to a and c, and the all of the middle is actually assigned to the underscore, no. So as you can see here, I just created the unpacking. So a equals 1, underscore equals 2 to 3 4, and c equals to 5. So that's also one thing. So it just shows that you are not technically throwing away the value, but it's just like we don't care that much, no? So other minimal or like minimal use case for underscore is big number readability. So if you're having a problem, usually in like big numbers, if you're using big numbers, you can actually use underscore as a separator. So for this, you can, instead of this, we are having a hard time to count off the zeros. Here, it's already separated, and even if we actually do that, it's still the same um value. The x and y is the same value. You can also use this, I do believe, with hex code, hex values as well, and other um numbers as well, I think. Okay, so for the next part, I hope that the three use case, day-to-day use case, I hope that you have actually used it during your development days, no, or daily development. But if not, if this is the first time you've actually heard about that, I hope you will be able to use it, no, in terminal, if you're actually like uses the Python interactive shell as well. So right now, we will be actually also discovering what's the use of underline in defining Python variables naman, no. So I think we all know variables. As I showed earlier on, the x and y, it's already variable. But what if we add different underline in different position on those variables? No. What if we add underscore before the variable? So like this, how it would look like. So let us say we created a class and we initialize three values. So we initialize foo, a regular variable. We initialize bar with a underline before the bar, single underline before the bar, and we also initialize bus with two underline before bus. So how it would look like when we try to access these attributes and variables. So for this, if we try to access the xyz.foo, it would be um, easily accessed, no. When we try to access xyz dot underscore bar, it will still be accessed. But for this, we are technically making it kind of private, no. But ideally, it can be still accessed naman. And for xyz dot double underscore bas, it is technically accessible, but in a different way. So we can actually access it using xyz dot underscore a new original class name mo, then double underscore bas. We are technically doing a name mangling for this one. So technically, we are just saying that this is a super secret variable, but it is still accessible. That's the case. So as well as if we also use underscore after a certain variable, it is also giving technically it's just a similar with the throwaway variable. It's also a stylistic pure stylistic pattern wherein we uses underscore after the variable name, no. But usually it is actually used if we want to parang use the reserved keywords in our program. Let us say for class, if you would love to use it as a variable, it will be a parang problem. because it is a reserved keyword. But we can bypass that, or technically not totally bypass, but we can actually still use the class um with underline after it the name. So okay, just to summarize, what how do we use underscore within different variable names? So if we are using underscore precede before the variable name, we are technically saying na it is for internal use, weak private siya, no? It's just technically making it much harder, but not technically hard, sobrang hard, no? Or difficult. If we put underscore after variable name, it is just technically we are avoiding keyword conflict. Or if we want to use reserved keywords as well, we can actually use that. But if we use or we actually inputted two double underline before the variable, we are technically doing name mangling. So what is name mangling? So we are technically creating different namespace for that for that variable itself, no. So stronger private, but still it is accessible na. Hindi siya protected. Private lang siya. Okay, so I hope na medyo nandun pa lang tayo sa beginner part pa rin to. So we will be moving on with the intermediate and kinda advanced talaga na wherein we will be also figuring out why Python sometimes is actually slower, no, because of this kind of um internal functions, no. So let us go with the dunder methods or the magic methods, as I said earlier on with our um, intro of the talk. So what is actually dunder methods? So technically, if you think about it, if you're using a function or class, it is actually all of the class in Python have dunder methods. Technically, even methods, no? May dunder methods sila. So it is all dunder methods. It always has been. No? So what's actually what's actually the like preview of these different dunder methods that I'm I'm talking about. So we are using XYZ earlier on dun sa natin sa variable natin ay sa class natin na nag-inherit kanina. So as we can actually see, if we use dir na keyword, no, we will be able to see all of the attributes, dunder methods and methods, no. Yeah. So as we can see, we are able to actually see the macbas, the bar, the foo. We are also able to see the attributes, no. I mean the dunder methods like the class, the attribute, dic, dir, doc, equal, format, greater or equal, get attribute, greater than, and hash, and everything, no. We are able to actually get it. Okay. So oops. Ayan. Okay. So let us continue. So let us go first with the first dunder method that I think every one of us learning Python already parang encountered, no. Most of the time if we follow different tutorials in in YouTube, no, we will be always seeing the if under the dunder name equals or is equal to dunder main, what would happen, no. So usually I think dati kala ko like kailangan lang siya lagay para lang yung yung program, lalo na nung nag-aral ako Flask, no. It is actually there always, no. Pero actually I just recently know what's actually the use case of this specific code, no. So in Python we have what we are can actually run the Python file in like many ways, no. Pero the two major way is actually as a module and as a script, no. So as a module, what do you mean po as a module? So if you actually import a Python file to another Python file, you are technically running it um technically you're importing it as a module, no. And if you're running it directly naman, from the terminal, no, yung Python 3, yung pinakita ka kanina -m, no, you're running it as a script, no. So what's the difference, no? if you're running it as a script, yung magiging case nito is at yung gagana would be gagana yung if dunder name equals dunder main, no. So why, bakit ganun yung case, no? So kasi ang parang sinasabi dito is we are technically checking, no, what's the current namespace, no, of the Python, no. Are we actually on the main or we are actually on a import. Yeah. So, yun yung ano, no. So, if we are actually importing it, the name would be the file name itself. But if we are technically directly running it, the name would be the underscore main. So, what are the other the underscore that's actually common, no, with Python? So, when I'm actually creating this talk, I realized there's a lot of dunder methods. Not only the common ones, there's also advanced one, and there's actually technically special dunder methods that's used every time that you're doing Python. No? But let us run through with all of these different dunder methods. So first, the dunder init. No? So for this, if we're technically doing class, we are if we parang use the dunder method init, we are technically creating initialization, no, for that class. So instead of us putting a different parameters for class, no, we will be actually able to create that using the init, no. So doon na natin ilalagay yung um, mga variables natin, and we are able to actually create it will be called, no, when we do in in initialization of of a new class, no, which is technically on the right side. So for the next two naman is the dunder string and dunder representation, no. So technically this is both string forms, no. So if you actually use the str, so if you remember, we have like add, diba? We have int to typecast, no. So if we actually use str naman, it is actually calling the str dunder method. What about the repr dunder method, no? So if we actually parang call the value naman, it will be actually calling the repr dunder method. So ideally here, if we print, no, so it is technically calling the repr dunder method here. But if we do print str object, it will be calling the str dunder method. So next, I think we already discussed this, no, the dunder method add. There's a lot. There's ano pa, hindi lang add, any arithmetic operator, there's already dunder method for that. So there's dunder method subtraction, I think sub, dunder method mul, dunder method div, even dunder method ge kanina, greater than or equal, le less than or equal, lt, and gt, I think, no. So that's actually other dunder method, no. For len, if you remember, there's also a method called len. This will be actually calling the len dunder method of the class or object, no, to actually call the len protocol, no. So ideally here, if we are able to overload the operator here, we can also um, create a custom implementation of len protocol in Python, no, as long as you were able to um, define your custom logic, no, using the dunder len method. Uh, so next would be different iteration dunder methods, no. So for this one, dunder method iter and dunder method next. There's also, I do believe, dunder method previous, no. So for this, you are technically so let us say if you want for a class to be a iterable, you will be able to do that if you actually define a custom dunder method that is iter, no. And you could also parang define what would be the next, no, if you actually put it on for loop. Let us say you want it to be always plus 2, you can define it on the dunder next, no. So this is the example use case if you actually define the custom dunder method for the object. So next would be the dunder method call. So callable objects na. So ngayon mangyayari dito, so instead of method lang yung callable, if you actually define the dunder method call, it will also make the object callable itself, no? So for dunder method enter and exit naman, it is the context manager. So what is that, no? So usually this is about like file manager, not only file manager but anything na merong open and close, no, na mga method. So let us say even if you do action, I think SSE, no, meron din yung mga ganun. So parang ano lang siya, yun yung mga no, may mga context manager, you will be defining the dunder method. So other than that, there's a lot of different dunder methods that I currently use. I'll just breeze through on those things, no. So slats and dick, no. So there's actually a good explanation from Anthony Wright's code, no, from YouTube. You can actually check that. Pero the good thing here is in class, there's actually an innate dunder method dictionary. So if you actually put xy, no, parang class dot x equals 1, it will be able to actually create a key value pair, no. And if you para access it class dot and underscore and under dict, it will actually give you the dictionary form, no, no every value that you assign to the class. But if you use dunder method slots, it will technically not instantiate the dunder method dict, making the class faster, no. Lalo na pag nagde-data class kayo, this is actually sobrang 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 ganda for you to make it much faster yung mga class functions class niyo, no. So that's the case. So next would be missing. So for this one naman, you could actually overload as well yung dunder method na missing ng dictionary, wherein usually if we do a direct access sa mga key ng dictionary, usually magkakaroon tayo ng error, no. So it's actually it could like have a problem in your app if there's an error. So we can actually override, no, or create a custom dunder method using dunder missing, no, that will create instead of throwing an error, it will do your custom logic na if there's a missing value, no. So take note, this is technically not a implementation of .get na method ng dictionary, because the .get, it's a safe lookup, no. So this is not technically the direct access, no. So it is actually working sa mga square brackets, tapos yung technically if you're directly accessing the keys, no, in dictionary. Call, I was able to define that kanina. All naman, so for this one, technically if you remember, we are trying to import earlier on yung Python Python file natin. So if you define --all, dunder method all, you will be able to limit, no, the access to the methods inside your file, no. So if you technically just parang na kamali kayo ng na import nyo lahat ng methods, if meron tayong dunder method all, lahat lang nun nasa list nung included dun sa dunder method all natin yung magiging available, no, dun sa dun sa in-importan nating file, no. So eto mabilis lang siguro just to show why dunder methods actually important na technically in Python, because dunder methods, there's actually 3 dunder methods that is actually used in Python, which is called in descriptors for Pythons, no. So let us just parang quickly define what is a descriptor. It's a class that manages the access to an attribute of another class. So it's technically parang siya lang yung nagma-manage, or siya lang yung bahala kung ano yung logic, no, dun sa mga different attribute ng class mo, no. So for this, pretty familiar if you already used previously the property you will be able to see, parang you will be able to create a property of temperature, no, within the Celsius, no. So if you do Celsius at temperature, you will be able to get that, no, and set as well variable, no, with the temperature that's setter, no. So technically, descriptor is usually used for getter and setter, no. But the thing here is that um this is not this is technically descriptor methods, no, yung property natin, no, pero in internal or under the hood, it's just using dunder methods. It's just using the dunder get and the dunder set, no. So literally you're doing two function call two class na agad, no, just to create a getter setter, no, which is actually making it slower to process, no, which is sadly that's the reality for Python. So again, there's two types for descriptor. The data descriptor, if you're using both get set or delete, it is a data descriptor, no. So what and if you're just using get, it is non-data descriptor, no. So this is the example used for property or field validator. So if you use Pydantic, it is technically a data descriptor, but in non-data descriptor, this is just more on getting lang. So ito din, no. So what does it mean, no? If you have data descriptor, sige, if you have non-data descriptor, if you assign any value to the instance, it will prioritize yung assignment mo dun sa value, no. It will override, no. It will bypass yung descriptor mo, no, regardless na kahit may descriptor dun. Because there's no set or delete, it will bypass, no. So from here, if you actually see getting from descriptor, if may get descriptor value, tapos may instance value, no. So makikita natin getting from descriptor value, tapos we have instance value na, no. So yun yung natin, yun yung bypass niya yung descriptor. Pero if we have set, no, so we can actually see getting from descriptor, setting through descriptor value. So ito yung mauuna pa rin regardless, no, since meron siyang mass priority. So if we actually see setting through descriptor, assigned value, getting from descriptor, then assigned value muna, no. So may siya, no, priority niya muna yung descriptor natin. So ngayon, if you override the descriptor, still it will technically pa rin, no, prioritize yung setter natin. So ngayon, lastly, so that we will be able to finally wrap up, the Python attribute access logic for technically getters and setters. So by default, no, there usually all of the dunder methods also uses this is actually also a part of descriptor, no. It's a bound method. So technically, it will look for any attribute in the class dictionary. If walang dictionary, it will be the slots. If it found and it has get or a descriptor, and it also has a set data descriptor, it will use yung set natin, no. Pero if wala tayong set, it will be overridden by the instance. If there's a no descriptor, it will check with the dictionary. If still not found, fall back to class attribute or race attribute error, no. So ganun siya katagal mag loop para mag check nung natin, no, attribute. Hindi lang siya like straightforward na get and set, no. It will go to descriptor muna. It will check first descriptor before it will be able to show you an attribute. So I hope there's a lot you were able to get at least one or two. And I hope if you have any questions, you can just reach me out through my different social media platforms, no. So you can search for me, Scared Meow. Yun naman yung common username ko. And again, thank you Arnel for this invitation and for creating this wonderful event. I hope for next year I will be able to go there physically. Thank you. Bye.